Welcome, lovely viewers, to another exciting video. Hello and a warm welcome to our channel. Today, we're delving into Maurice Michael Otunga. Maurice Michael Otunga, January 1923 – 6 September 2003, was a Kenyan Catholic prelate and cardinal who served as the Archbishop of Nairobi from 1971 until his resignation in 1997. Pope Paul VI elevated him into the cardinalate in 1973 as the Cardinal-Priest of San Gregorio, Barbarigo, alle Tre Fontane. Otunga was the son of a tribal chief and denied taking his father's place so as to pursue a path to the priesthood after completing his studies at home and in Rome. He was made a bishop in the Urs and then transferred to a new diocese at its head. He later was transferred to Nairobi and was a participant in the Second Vatican Council. Otunga was known for his vehement opposition to the use of condoms and twice in the Urs burnt boxes of condoms before the faithful. He explained that contraception was in breach of Christian teaching and that it was in opposition to Humanae Vitae issued in 1968. He was also a vocal critic of abortion and was critical of priests who involved themselves in social and political controversies. His cause of canonization has commenced and he has been titled as a servant of God. Now, let's shift our focus to childhood and conversion and embark on an intellectual exploration of its various dimensions. Maurice Michael Otunga was born in 1923 to Wasik Luswiti Suya, pagan and chieftain of the Backholm or Buksa tribe and Rosa Namisi. His father had about 70 wives and children with each and taught Otunga the basic tenets of their traditional religion. He was given the name Otunga, which meant a staff the old lean on for support. But his original name was Odunga but changed to Otunga since the Lubuksu language had no D sound to it. But this was his second name. His father had called him this because he felt it was better than the name his mother had chosen for him. Rosa named her infant son Simiu upon his birth. His brothers, with whom they shared the same mother, were John Calibo and Christopher Nakitar. He had so many nephews and nieces since his father was polygamous. From his biological mother, he had 5 nephews and 7 nieces, thus John Calibo had 4 boys and 1 girl, while Christopher Nakitar had 6 daughters and 1 boy. John Calibo's eldest son is Simon Wanyini, while Christopher Nakitar's son is Austin Kisa. He converted to Catholicism and was baptized in 1935 from Leopold, where he was given the name Maurice Michael. His father was later baptized in 1963 and his mother also later in 1965. Otunga received his confirmation on 29 September 1939 from Bishop Joseph Shanahan. In the upcoming section, we'll be shining a light on education and priesthood. He studied at Mill High School in Kibabi from 1931 to 1933 and later at another school in Saiji from 1933 to 1934. He finished his studies at Mangs High School in Kabo from 1934 to 1935 before obtaining a licentiate in his theological studies in September 1951. He began his ecclesial studies in Kakamega, where he began both his philosophical and theological studies, which he finished at the Goba Ecclesial School in Kampala in Uganda. He refused to become his tribe's chieftain after his father resigned from the position in 1947. He transferred to Rome and was a student at the Pontifical Urban from 1947 until 1950. It was there in Rome that he was ordained to the priesthood on 3 October 1950. He also obtained his theological doctorate in Rome after finishing his further studies, which spanned from 1950 to 1951. He traveled in Europe for several months in 1951 and visited northern Italian cities before going to Paris and Lourdes in France and then to England and Ireland. Upon his return to his homeland, he served in the theological department as a professor from 1951 until 1954 at the Ecclesial School in Kisumu, while he also served as the vice-chancellor of the diocesan curia. He served also as the private aide to James Robert Knox from 1954 until his appointment to the episcopate in 1956. In 1956 he was assigned to serve as a pastor at the Makupa parish in Nairobi. Let's now turn our attention to episcopate and uncover the fascinating insights it brings to the table. The decisive moment in his priesthood came after Pope Pius XI nominated him to the episcopate. He was made the titular bishop of Takap and received his episcopal consecration from Knox a couple of months later in Kakamega. Pope John XXIII later transferred Otunga to the new diocese of Kishi. Otunga attended the 4 sessions of the Second Vatican Council 1960 to 1965 and was promoted as the titular Archbishop of Bomaza in 1969. Later, on 15 November 1969, another decisive moment came when Pope Paul VI nominated him as the co-tutor Bishop of Nairobi. This meant that he would succeed the current Archbishop as its head upon his resignation. He succeeded as the Archbishop of Nairobi on 24 October 1971. He served as the Vice President of the Association of Member Episcopal Conferences in Eastern Africa AMECEA and a member of the Permanent Committee of the Episcopal Conferences of Africa and Madagascar SECAM. He also participated in various episcopal assemblies that the Pope convoked in Rome. Now, let's shift our perspective and explore cardinalate through a fresh lens, unlocking new perspectives. On 5 March 1973 he was created and proclaimed a cardinal as the Cardinal-Priest of San Gregorio Barbarigo or Tre Fontane. He attended the 2 episcopal assemblies the Pope called in Rome both in 1974 and 1977. He also participated in the Papal Conclave of August 1978 and the Conclave of October 1978 that saw the elections of Pope John Paul I and Pope John Paul II. Otunga also participated in other episcopal assemblies in Rome both in 1980 and 1994. In 1994 in Rome he stated to the world's bishops, Otunga lived in modest conditions and issued much of the trappings that came with the episcopal office. He even drove in his own Peugeot 304. He often visited President Daniel Arap to urge him to implement democratic reforms and disapproved of priests becoming involved in social or political controversies. He sought to promote and encourage diocesan vocations, and he invited religious congregations to settle and work in Nairobi. He served on various departments in the Roman Curia as is the norm for a cardinal. Those appointments were a Congregation for Divine Worship and the Discipline of the Sacraments Congregation for Religious and Secular Institutes. In this part of the video, we'll be diving deep into resignation and death and unraveling its profound impact. In 1991 he fell ill and failed to secure his resignation from Pope John Paul II. The Pope instead decided to appoint a co-tutor bishop who would have the right of succession in case Otunga either died or otherwise. In 1992 he suffered a stroke and sent a second resignation letter which was accepted in 1997. After he retired he moved into an aged care home and lost his power to vote in papal conclaves after he had turned 80. Otunga died on 6 September 2003 at 6:45 a.m. of cardiac arrest in the intensive care unit of the Mota Misericordia Hospital in Nairobi. Otunga had been hospitalized there for about 2 months. The funeral was celebrated on 19 September in Nairobi. His remains were interred in Nairobi at St. Austin's in Zongari, which was a traditional burial ground for priests or deacons. He was the highest in rank to be interred there. His remains were later transferred to the Karen's Resurrection Gardens on 24 August 2005 at 1 p.m. His remains were relocated in secret after his old Buksu tribe argued the move would bring about a curse. Get ready for a captivating exploration as we unravel the layers of street and their profound significance. In late 2016, the government named a street in Nairobi in his honor, Cardinal Otunga Road. As we venture forward, let's examine beatification process in detail and gain a deeper appreciation for its significance. In 2005, plans were announced to consider and launch the cause for the late cardinal's beatification. National bishops made their ad limina apostolorum visit to Rome in November 2007 and sought advice on the matter from the Congregation for the Causes of Saints. The formal petition to the cause was made to Cardinal John Yu on 30 October 2009, and Yu wrote on 6 November to the Congregation for the Causes of Saints requesting their approval to initiate the cause. The latter voiced their assent, declaring nihil obstat, no objections, on 1 March 2010, and titled Otunga as a Servant of God. Yu announced the cause would open on 6 August 2010 but did not set the date for its opening at that point. The diocesan process opened in Nairobi on 11 November 2011 and spoke to 171 witnesses in total while collecting 23,995 pages of documentation regarding the cardinal's life and works. This diocesan investigation closed on 28 September 2013. The documents were sealed in boxes and handed over to the papal nuncio Charles Daniel Balvo for transferal to the CCS in Rome. The CCS validated this process on 9 May 2014. The first postulator for this cause died on 12 August 2012. The current postulator is Dr. Waldry Hillman since 1 September 2012. In the upcoming portion, we'll be dissecting condoms to gain a comprehensive understanding of its implications. On 31 August 1996, before 250 faithful, he burned condoms in a Hood Park as part of his campaigning against the use of condoms. He deemed them to be against the teachings of the Catholic Church and more so an affront to Humanae Vitae, which Pope Paul VI had issued in 1968. Otunga urged people to exercise abstinence instead and affirmed that contraception did not solve the HIV/AIDS crisis. He also met with local Islamic leaders for ceremonial bonfires to burn condoms in public. One such public bonfire was on 19 August 1995, in which he joined the Imam of Nairobi's Jamia Mosque Sheikh Olishi in burning condoms and sex education literature. In the upcoming portion, we'll be dissecting family planning to gain a comprehensive understanding of its implications. Otunga criticized family planning activists and sought to have them desist from interfering with family life. He criticized them in the following words. In this part of the video, we'll be diving deep into abortion and unraveling its profound impact. Otunga was a strong critic of abortion and said that human life remains sacred from the moment of conception until natural death. The time has come to unravel the secrets behind education and gain a deeper understanding. Otunga supported President Moi's reforms in ending the sexual education curriculum in schools. With the foundation laid, let's embark on a journey into Islam. Amin al-Hinawi on 14 January 1993 issued a sharp criticism that Otunga made regarding warnings against the expansion of Islam in Africa. The Church clarified that the cardinal was misinterpreted and had been speaking out against Islamic fundamentalism, which he perceived to be on the rise rather than the Islamic religion itself. Otunga had once made an assertion that Muhammad as the last prophet was based on a lie, since Jesus Christ was the last prophet. These remarks caused considerable debate and incense among Muslims. The Assistant Minister Sharif Nasser on 7 January 1987 requested Otunga to read and understand the Quran to better work for interreligious dialogue. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your support and I'll see you in the next video.